That's why we look out for water from someone else to wet the tree. So over time, the tree will be wet and the mango will be fully germinated. You have shade, you have fruit, you have everything. And the people will be like to say, wow, look at lamb bearers today. We know how you started several years ago, maybe around Unity, right? You know that period. I've been there, maybe 2:30, 2:40. I came to speak to, I know I was there several years ago, about 10 years, 15 years, 13 years ago. But look at it today. But what people can see is the edifice now. But the runners of this place will know what they have gone through. Unpaid school fees, lack of electricity, the teacher leaving, the teachers turnover unexpectedly, maybe a teacher handling about 3, 4, 5 subjects at the time. All those things, they are part of the process to get to us to where we are going in life. So, the first thing I'm going to admonish this morning is to let us know that we have to change our mindset from seeing turbulence time as a big thing. In the moment we change our mindset from seeing turbulence time as an opportunity, then life becomes more easier. Life is, we can never pray for easy life. You know, I don't know whether if you understand God. God doesn't, he created the two. But in most cases, you have to understand the way of God to know Uziri and Uzira, because most people, we don't know the difference. Sometimes ease is what we call pain. But to God, God will look at it. We are giving him more responsibility. He's calling it pain. For God's sake, if you are a mere teacher, okay, you come to class, you can come for your own. Okay, let's say for those of us that's been to university, if you are a lecturer, in fact, in school you may not go more than 3 times when you have classes. But the moment you become HOD, you must be there because you are the one that will share the subject. You become the dean. Responsibility, you don't have time again. You have departmental meeting, you have management meeting. Then that's how it. So in most cases, we look at the configuration of the position. We don't look at the embedded responsibilities. So when God wants to take you to next level, you have to go through what is going on now. I'm sure you're having a lot of issues with parents. Sometimes on a compassionate level, you'll find it difficult to raise your school fees. Because you know that if you raise school fees, it's not the same Nigeria that are suffering from the same economic downturn that own these children. Then you find yourself in between. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to make it more painful for the parents? But if you don't do that, how am I going to survive and give their children the best? And I realize that most parents, you may not know because we don't have statistics. Most parents have changed their children's school to public school. But I would say, Boni, Baba, you law. Nasir Pamari, who went to Nasir Pamari here? Okay, Lele, Amuli, okay, Fuma, Alole, Akogapomu. And I'm very sorry to say we are still far better than today's education. Because then the standard was like this in the private school. I remember those principals in those days. I remember those teachers of those days. A teacher, a primary school teacher will be reading, studying before you will come and face me as. Most teachers nowadays, they come from market to enter class. with a wedu and therefore in that the bag. So private school is the one solving the problem. But I keep telling everybody, those of us that have private school, you see, we are going to tell ourselves the bitter truth. And I love this place that I'm speaking. I know that as much as you start this school, you want to make profit, and you are running it as business. Those of us that have private school, we are still thinking of one day that we will meet God. In fact, I'm very sure that most of us here will have loved a situation whereby somebody is paying, one billionaire is paying for these kids, and you are just offering the services without troubling the parents. You will so much wish to do that. Because that one will save you from a lot of, hey, how am I going to explain this? Because let me tell you something, most parents, we have to steal to pay their children's school fees. They have to steal. They have to inflate contracts to be able to pay their children's school fees in your own school. But is it your fault? No. God will have the government that made public school to be so. That's why I'm saying that one of the things, probably, that I'm very sure that God will be planning is that we are going to go back to era of public school. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And all owners of schools should prepare. In Rwanda, it happens. That everybody removed their children from private school and they took them to public school. Because the public school has no reason not to meet the standard of private school. The only thing that will make anybody survive, that is the worst of turbulence that will happen. If not now, very soon. Somebody will come to power that will feel that nobody should be paying that much for school. Then that person will come, that person will not have options than to adopt the existing private school based on your agreed terms. They will not, that person will be so comprehensive that will not allow the owner of school to lose out. One of the things they will do is absorbing the entire teacher of that school and maintain the same school fees and the same salary. And they say, okay, for every student coming to this school, the owner will get this amount. It's not like takeover the way we used to have, maybe a government is taking over and Sadudin, it took over Trinity. No, it won't be like that. Because you are more exposed, you are more grounded now. You have invested so much. But that period, you have to prepare for it because turbulence. You know, turbulence now, because public school is still bad, that's why people still retain their children in school. The turbulence is not just about. So, how do you become futuristic about your school? How do you prepare ahead for that day when people will say, Alore is now better than any school? Because the time is coming that God will just look at Bekuno. We are at the, you know, the unfortunate all of us here, we are in the same Bekuno bracket. We are all the same. It's quite unfortunate. The owner of school, not that they are living like millionaires, they are not. It's because one of the things that is driving people with a private Islamic school is how do we make sure that Western education is there, but our children are not lacking in deen. These are the philosophy that is driving most of us here. It's not that you want to ride the latest Benz. And when you look at it, most people that own school, you know, in most cases, you know, in private school, Islamic school, most of us that own Islamic school, we are grounded in Islamic knowledge. But when you look at most other private schools, it's business. It's just business. I'm sure there are so many of us here that can enter class If it's not Quran, maybe Hafiz. If it's not Hafiz, maybe Kiraha, maybe. I know that there are so many things as owner that you can enter class. Most schools, most private schools, the owners cannot enter class. Because we leave the business, government is in trouble. We leave the business of schooling, education in the hands of business people that are now determining the price of school with classical economics, demand and supply. And how can that kind of society go forward? So you are doing great job. And the one good news about it is that this period is to prepare you to be able to expand your horizon. And how do you survive? And please, the list of survival strategy, the cheapest, is increment of school fees. But even when you look at it, you too, you know that love show you teacher. But let me tell you something. Very soon, I'm just predicting. I don't know. I don't have any information. But I'm just so convinced that a time is coming that, merger and acquisition that happen in a bank, it may happen to schools. It may happen to school. And except you are far ahead. And that's why when God is trying to make things like this happen, when turbulence is there, it's for you to be able to double your effort in so many creative and innovative areas where you can be ahead and the people will be ready to pay beyond the education you are offering. Haven't you noticed that sometimes when a child paid 1 million to have Qira'ah and the Crown Quran, if you are going to be honest with yourself, deep inside you not feel fulfilled sometimes. I mean, you want to compare the way you feel about a child doing walima to the way all those baba in those days feel when their children are doing walima. Feasibility. Cannot. The way you feel, the day you sit down and the children are coming out, you said, Takbir, Allah, Akbar, Qira'ah, Quran, Hafiz. The only thing that will be in your head, that will be contradicting your mind, you can't do this level. And Baba John kini wọ́n gbà. Take gbogbo your free dafa. Hello lesson. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to debase the idea of school fees. There could be increment. You don't have option. I'm not saying it's never your fault if you decide to say children should pay more, because it's not your fault that they have to remove subsidy. It's not your fault that the government is not fixing refinery. The same market, the bourgeois, the commissioner will buy their things. It's the same market you are going to buy your things. The same car you are using, the same filling station you are going to buy your fuel. You cannot put your children inside heat. You have to home fan for them if there's no light and you don't have light. So you have every reason. So I'm not trying to make you feel guilty that maybe you increase. No, it's not your fault. What I'm saying is that you can think, for you to survive in the future, you have to diversify in such a way that you think beyond the increment of school fees. Do you understand? So that when competition is stiff, people want to know those schools with stable school fees and still give it quality. Because news will go out there. Like you can send why increase the whole school, but we have got to be at the education could I want to introduce it? You now see that the way people will be coming. But if you insist that it's about school fees, the children will be reducing and the schools that can think fast will do it. So I think we get my remark. The way I'm coming, I'm trying to let you know that turbulence time is God giving you an expo that is going to telekala hayam that will that the power of education might shift. It shifted from it shifted to you. In fact, the kind of money they could not get, you are getting it. God shifted it to you, Abi. That's what happened. In fact, most of our family, they had to force themselves to quickly rush to College of Education, okay, so that they can employ them. I mean, when last did you see Kuya, Awanjaye, Kalamu? When last did you see that? At the time we are in Ilegewo and the Sheikh Kamadin, when they introduced Ayiba Kofi, Agaba Kofi, that's how we started. Kablasa Yara. Love, Hara. Agaba Kofi, that's how we started. Until some of the offset, the graduates from Adabiya, from Americas, started. The first Ava that brought that thing to us, we laugh every day on the side. I think, what's the problem? Okay. But it shifted to them. Remember, anybody that came with that thing inside the Adubo, I say, most people left those Ayimba Kofi, Agamba Kofi afar, and the roads there. Before you begin to conceptualize it and make it back, people have left them too, they are with you now. It's a vicious circle. It's going back to them. But in a very creative and innovative way. That's why Tulul Hama, you must have that foresight. That's okay, what is the worst that can happen? Please let it always occur to your mind that a government can come that will make public school to compete with private school. A government is coming. If one of you should become governor today, I'm sure the only thing that will be on your mind that how do you make public school function? The kind of drive you will bring. That's how changes happen. Even most of these kids that are in school now, that their parents will have to complain, fight, cry before they pay their school fees. Don't mind those kids. In their mind, they are already making up their mind. When I get there, no child during my generation will go to private school. Or we pay this much. There might be total revolution in the education system. Then there's nothing wrong about it. You will still be a big player when it comes. There'll be no option. But the big player by then is your preparedness. And then what can prepare you at a period like this? And then the only way you will not be able to prepare yourself if you find an easy way out. And what's the easy way out? Increase school fees. Just increase, no more knowledge. Just increase the school fees. Whether the parent will withdraw their kids, they have to pay more. I don't care. Then don't worry, you'll fizzle out. It's a natural thing. It's a natural phenomenon. It happens like that. That's why I said in this kind of gathering is a place where you understand the way God works. You know, when you want to change, and look at the way He used to change humanity those days to this advance. Is it not destruction? Abi, is it not during Prophet Muhammad that said he's not going to destroy again? And I'm sure each successful generation is better than the previous one. I don't know, I just say it. That when Noah, Hudu, Lutu, all those days, when once they offend like this, it's a revolution. Before he now said, okay, let the Quran go there and then be the change. And you are very truthful about it as honest. You will see blessing. You are preparing for the future. A time is coming, somebody will take over your school. And they say they want to be financing all your students. There are people with that kind of money. Cost management. That one is in internal. Cost management does not mean that you have to don't reduce the salary of your teachers. Don't reduce the salary of your teachers. One look 1 hour. Tell you to me why. All right. I will leave this paper. We can photocopy and I just brought it out. Cost management That one you know. There are certain things that there are some teachers you don't know. They can fix the fan, they can fix the bulb. Have meeting with them. As much as we are not ready to reduce the salary of the teachers, we will appreciate a teacher that have special skill to contribute as Sarah. That if you know how to fix fan, please help us fix it instead of bringing somebody from outside. The person we are going to bring from outside, we collect 10,000, but we are ready to give you 3,000. You will see most teachers, you'll be so surprised that most of your teachers, they are mechanic. Wallahi, when they will not say, but you have to appeal to that. And you will see them supporting your vision. And they have plans for them. Community engagement. And this one, some people use it. But it's very, I don't know, on this part of the world, they call it stakeholder strategy, where you ask people to contribute when the school is going through turbulent time, that you need 100 people to be part of the owner of this school, but the ownership of this school is 100%. You own your school, but you want to leave 10 or 15% out. This 15, by the time you value it, is about 15 million. So we need 50 people or 100 people to contribute, and then you share this 50%. Once we have 50, we are not taking anything more. So each time you have your profit, you just take out the 50% and share among these people. And you see them taking ownership. That's my school. I own that school. What about say 50,000? No, no contribute. That ownership will make it protect this school and tell everybody to go and register their children in your school. If you have 50 people, and these 50 people introduce 3. That's about 150 students. The interest you give, not interest, the dividend that you will give them at the end of, you discover that it's far lower than what they have brought. Not that money they gave you, it's the ownership, like we own that school. That you'll be having meeting with them, thank God, and you update them. You'll be surprised that most of them will become the grant donor that we talk about. We realize that most of them are working in a place where they are doing CSR. That will say that I have a school that I'm running, but we do foundation. Please, this money, can we take it to that school? We have our you see, when somebody outside on the begin to say, this school our going to raise our mother, people need baba. So it's a strategy. So it's part of the things that you do to get out of turbulent time. It's part of the strategy. You just select the people that will do. You want to give out 15 million, and the one person out of this 15 million cannot contribute more than maximum 500,000. He said, no, I can buy 2 million. We don't want anybody to own 8% or 15%. Equal share. So that nobody will say, can I increase the share? Oh, school or no? And there will nothing wrong about it, because you would not know if you get too attracted, too comfortable with somebody. What if I give you like 150 million? Oda, no, for me. You just sit down here out there as a proprietor, and he will come stand up from that chair. When you are sitting on my chair, you are sitting on my chair because it's now 51%. Your own is 49%. But if you say 15, it will help. There's nothing wrong. We now add that little then. The value 100% or that little. But the value our material can you suffer if you go jeko. Which is not that great. Our money don't be surprised. Don't be so interest in this school. Every school need governor like what I call them. If one of them, it's because of the training, background training. And there's nothing wrong about that. He never knew that you will give up that early. Maybe he had his own future plan. But the children were not from Madrasa or from Americans, from Adabi, from Saudi, from Cairo. So they could not connect easily. And they are doing well in their own right. But look at it, look at the edifice. So add that on. So if you see that, okay, 50%, even someone can say 20%, but that kind of thing, don't leave yourself exposed. Have a proper accountant that you trust, that will guide you, that, if you collect that kind of money, you are going to enjoy it, but in the future, the school may not be yours again. You still want to retain, but no matter what, when you plan all this strategy, and the government is now ready to say, we are taking over private school. And at that time, there will be nothing like we are taking over private schools. No, it's not military. It's a voluntary thing that everybody wants to submit. Because you can imagine a government that is saying, I'm bringing 50 billion to public school. And each public school, for the bobbies and everything, I'm giving them 500 million each. But any private school who is interested in submitting his own, we get 300 million naira to the day Suni. Èló la máa ń pa ó pọ̀ jù láàrin ọdún márùn-ún a máa ń tó 50 a máa ń tó 15 náà tó 20 million tọ̀ ìjọba ní 300 million. Gbọ́dọ̀ mọ́ káwọn ọmọ wa náà kì í ṣe ìtọ́sí ìjẹ́ náà tẹ́lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí kí ló rí. Somebody, a governor will come, a president will come. Wallahi, it will come. That will say, okay, I want to face public school with 1 trillion. So all public schools are going to refurbish and then they become standard. Once they become standard, and the school fees will not be more than 5,000, 7,000 with the same standard. My friend withdrew his child because he could not pay school fees. He paid 1 million per term in Abuja. 1 million per term in a particular school. So he's a contractor. So he didn't get money, and at the time it was due to pay another term, and he was in a learning here with me. And they called him that the school gave his child letter to go home. After like maybe 4 or 5 years with them, he said, what? Yes. He said, okay, stay home, I'm coming. He got home and he sold his house out of anger. And my wife, my children, left to US. The school, public school in US, times 10 of where he was paying 1 million here. Free school. They are still giving them food. The boy confirmed that, what? Free? With this level? Who puts his child in private school in US? For what now? They won't. So a time is, and it's getting value. He just saw that now it's okay. So a time is coming that when I'm just saying it may not be now, it may be long, but if they come, if such persons should come, it must be part of the school that the government will be kneeling down, that we are not going to change anything about this place. Please, what do you need? Do you understand? What can we give you? We want you to maintain. We'll be sending certain students. You begin to relay. Yeah, I'm not going to leave my property. I'm not giving it out. I'm leasing. But I'll still be running. You now discover that you are doing far well than when you even run it yourself. That you are doing far better. And then you'll be so more happy the kind of attention you are getting because of the kind of thing. Because there will be competition among public school that time. That any school who has students that more than 70 or 80% with complete 5 credits and above 200 marks in JAM, we attract this amount from government. I think you'll be at the forefront than any public school in the first 2, 3, 4 years. I'm just saying, I don't know. But you have to face reality. If you are facing this kind of turbulence, and people are withdrawing their kids to public school, very soon now there will be an appraiser of public school. that a lot of children have come to public school. There will not be a child who was taken first when he was in private school, but because of parents cannot afford, they withdraw him to public school, and he has not come down badly. That will attract somebody from government and say, we have to change this narrative. Nothing is your fault. Endowment funds. By the time you read it, there are so many things. I've said so much. You can now start online education. You can start training, a consulting training, where your school will be conducting training for other schools in terms of teaching, teachers training, science training, or something you have mastered. You have to do a kind of research and they find out USP. You must have your own USP. Now, I was trying to explain something the other time about science-based. Battery is gone. About science-based. Science-based is there that let some students study, let them have knowledge of maybe AI is there, IT is there, like climate change from Quran and Hadith, theology, climate change, and let them be the driver of climate change from you, from your school, and they are deducing their facts from Quran and everything, and they are speaking about it. Put them on radio, and you are going to get funding from World Bank, from Saudi Arabia. You are going to get support. There's nothing wrong about you getting support from Allah source to promote humanity. So, mashallah, everything will be fine. So I have enough things there. Islamic Finance Partnership, essential, you can read. And again, maybe that's why I was telling the that it's not, public speaking is a class, it's a lecture. The public speaking is different from lecture. This is a public speaking engagement. Where you have to speak for 30 minutes, 1 hour. You can never be, but it's supposed to be a class. 2-day class, like workshop, where people will come every day and you talk from 9, so it will not be 3,000 then. You talk from 9, people go for break, you resume again for 2 days, and everybody come with their own project. Before we finish, everybody had come up with their own solution, what they are going to adapt in their school and practicalize immediately. That's how this kind of things can run. So if you think it again, then we can talk about it again. It's not about, it's about time. And we all, we are very religious. And we all have faith. And we believe that God is going to do it. That everything will change for better. But let me warn us, faith is not blind optimism. Faith is not sitting down, do nothing, and expect that everything will change. Faith is not doing the same thing the same way and expect that things will change. Faith is not about pushing and then getting an easy way out. Faith is that thing inside all of us that insists, despite all evidence that we can see around now, to the contrary, that can this thing ever be better? No, that's not faith. Despite all evidence to the contrary, all things will be better, greater, only if you can pray for it, work for it, and achieve it. Thank you, and God bless you.